Dead Art Studios artist vlog today. I've literally got about half an hour before I've got to get on with my day and do all my chores. But I'm going to see if I can sort out some of this on here. Yeah, we've got a canvas I was priming, so I can put a bit more on that hopefully. And here's some of my paintings I'm working on. And these two, one can be mounted and the other one can be signed and glossed. And that should just about take us to when I need to get out and about, do all this pre-Christmas stuff. Right, so we've got this little blue painting that's being varnished with a gloss medium and signed. So what I need to do is mount it. So I've got some nice fresh mounts. Open them up and check they're not spoiled, which has happened before. Obviously, if you're putting a mount on for something, it needs to be, in my opinion, in perfect condition with no little marks on it or stains. Because otherwise that kind of spoils the whole thing, doesn't it, when it's in a frame. Looking good. Okay, so I've got this clean board here that I'm going to use for my mounting purposes, and I keep it super clean. The table itself's pretty clean, but you know, you get little bits of oil or stains and things on there. And if that picks up onto the mount, then that's not great. So I've just put 4 pieces of tape on there rather than the table, because that won't do the table very good. And I've lined the painting up exactly where I want it. Now, if we're lucky, I can just slide it off. It should stay pretty much exactly where it is while I sort of figure out where the painting meets the cardboard, and just put that one bit on there just to fix it into place so that it stays at the level and angle that you want. You can sort of twist and do things to straighten it up if you want to, so it doesn't, you've got a bit of room for manoeuvre when you're doing the mounting. Like I say, I don't go crazy, because then you could just use a little bit, use a craft knife, cut through this tape and remount it if you wanted to, or reframe it, etc. Okay, so that's that done. Next I'll photograph it, and then I can stick that on the shop this evening. And for photographing, it's just for me a simple matter of doing it on the table with some natural light, and then I'll go into Photoshop and just use Photoshop to make sure that it looks nice and square and flat. Just skew it a bit and put it onto a white background, and that looks cleanest and best on the shop in my opinion. That's that done. So this one just needs signing, and then when the signature's dry, varnishing. So we'll do that on my paint board. So we'll use a 30, one of these that I just use for checking where I want them to be framed up, mounted up when they're done. And then I've got a 0.7mm Posca pen, and then just sign in the corner like that. That's done. Now that's got to dry a little bit before we put the gloss medium on. So I brought these canvases when I was out and about, and I don't really like canvas texture in my paintings, so I put a vast amount of gesso on it and left it for ages to dry. And I thought it'd totally cover it and make a sort of smooth surface, but it's actually surprisingly soaked in and still left a bit of the canvas patination on it. So I'm going to put some more on, leave it to dry again, and see how smooth we can get canvas by gessoing. Right, so I've got this gesso here. It's not my favourite one. I prefer the golden acrylics one, but we brought a lot of it and it was good value for money, so we'll use it. I'm just going to pour quite a lot on, and I use my brush to help me. There you go, look. What looks like an insane amount of gesso. And then I'm going to move it all around quite roughly, and then we're going to try and smooth it out with this metal ruler. So I've been reading a lot recently about plein air painting and the sort of start of Impressionism, and that's what I've been doing in terms of my study of art history for my paint and chat videos. My last one was on Paul Cézanne. I'll link that in the description. I really enjoyed making that video and learning about Paul Cézanne, and I feel like it was probably my sort of best art history video that I've made yet, so I'm glad that I feel like I'm making progress on those. And next we might have a look at how plein air outdoor painting came about, because it's more interesting than I thought or assumed, and I never really give it much thought. People weren't really doing it basically because it was difficult to mix the paint outside. So it's been interesting learning about how that changed. Right, let's see if we can smooth this over here. It's not working at all. Don't need to be a plasterer, clearly. Right, that's a bit better. I'll put a bit more in the middle. That was a lot more. It's all fun and games though, isn't it? We're just playing. We're just playing. That's all we're doing. Right, so if we bend the ruler a bit, we can sort of smooth it in the middle where it dips down a bit away from the edges of the canvas, where the wood kind of holds it up a bit more. Obviously, there's historical and correct ways of preparing canvases. This is no doubt not it, but I'm having a play. I'm seeing what's happening. Seeing if we can make a nice surface to work on, which is all that matters at the end of the day. Okay, so while the gesso is drying onto the canvas, which is going to take most of the day, I'll finish off this. The signature should be dry. Got some gloss medium here. That'll dry nice and clear. It's very archival and hardcore, which is good for these, you know, on paper acrylic paintings where, you know, if you've got a proper oil painting, you put on a proper varnish so that it can be conserved and removed over time. That's not what we're talking about for these things. So the gloss medium will be fine for these. Keep them protected. You know, if anything ever got spilled on it, you should just be able to wipe it off lightly. But we're not in the territory of full-on archival oil painting varnishes or anything like that, and isolation layers. And that's one of the ways I can put this on sale for £30. Okay, so gloss medium's a bit cloudy to start with. Dry nice and clear. And that'll be done. There you go, that's my half an hour of art done. Now I've got to get out with the festive shopping and all those kinds of things. I hope you're managing to find places in your life to do creative things like this, and maybe this will help inspire you a bit, that you can just fit things in here and there if you really want to get things done. Dead Art Studios, Artist Vlog. See you next time.